We know the second day of the campaign is happening. So this is Micheál Martin in a shop down in Cork. And as we can see, this is a journalist. A journalist for RT. You don't believe me? Look at this. Radio Television Sharon. RT, the propaganda service of the government. Fianna Fáil Fianna Gael bailed out RT. RT should really be bankrupt at this stage and gone and dusted and gone into the back pages of history. Because that's where they should be. They shouldn't exist, RT, at the moment, because we've seen the carry on they've been doing over the last few years. And RT basically never asks a real question. So this is a journalist on probably 100 or 200,000 euro a year. You know, chocolate. What chocolate? Think about that for a second. Think about all the people that are struggling at the moment to pay for their bills. Like even in this supermarket here, Micheál Martin was asked tough questions by people who were shopping about inflation, etc., etc. Obviously, the mainstream media won't show that because it's very tough, and Micheál Martin didn't have an answer for them. He was running away from them basically. But obviously, the journalists would just stand there and gossip and pick out, like as we see here, the more worried about his chocolate. So this is the mainstream media in 2024, just to say now. You can see why people don't watch RT and don't pay their TV license, because this is what you get. Bullshit and all that, and that's the simple stat. It's bullshit. That's what it is. There's weird questions to be asked. Now I know it's all a bit of fun. Sometimes you have that fun. Again, that's what life's all about. I get that, but the fact this journalist here probably never asked him a weird question in his life. Like he should be sweating with all these journalists coming out. He should generally be sweating buckets. Like he is sweating buckets when only Joes come up to him, because you can't shut them up. Because obviously RT are not going to question Micheál Martin if he's the Taoiseach in the next doll, and he might cut their funding if they ask them a tough questions, because that's what they can do. Basically, that's what they can do. If this journalist asks him really, really tough questions about stuff, he could be like, get rid of her. We don't want her in RT. We should get rid of her. Because again, RT was paid out by the government, only for the government, giving them hundreds and hundreds of millions after them misusing public money so long. She could be gone and RT could be gone if he really was what. But the government need RT because the state propaganda. They should say state-run affiliated media, because that's what RT is. There's no independent voices. But again, the other point I want to point out here is relation to this. So as we see straight away, he's using the machine. So straight away, if I was in the shop, if I go into any of these shops, I straight away go over to the counter. I won't go near with the staff often trying to get me there, and I'm saying to them, I'm supporting jobs. You should be gone, only for me coming over to use. Because I don't agree with using self-checkouts, because I want to support jobs. And Micheál Martin's the same. He said 100 times we should support jobs and giving people jobs, etc., etc. This is getting rid of jobs. So why is this journalist, this so-called journalist, not standing there? Micheál, why are you not going over to the working man and the working woman who has to get up early and has a mortgage, etc., etc., not like you, who has hundreds of thousands a year? You think she would ask him? Why are you not going over to him to ask him questions, or to talk to him, or even just to get the customer, keep him in a job? But again, no questions, just sit there, look at the chocolate, say nothing and be quiet. It's like no queer, to be totally honest. No queer, need to get more questions. But the way you know about how people are very upset about it is when you see the comments compared to the likes. Like, this is a journalist. I wouldn't mind if this was an ordinary Joe sitting there with a staff member, but this is a so-called journalist of Radio Television Sharon, and I expect better from a journalist. I really, really do, and I'm sure everybody does. We expect better to hold the politicians to account. Like, take this up, they should say, some of the journalists behind them should say, there's children out here who can't afford to buy sweets, take for example, because they're living on the streets, and there's parents that are one paycheck away from living on the streets too with their children. You take me out and throwing a few €1,000 into that super file and say that'll pay for a few people's shopping for the week. He wouldn't do it. You think you say, I buy all the shop, anybody that's in the store at the moment, I buy all the groceries. Because he can do it. He can buy the shop if he really wants to do. He's hundreds of millions a year if he wants to. But the fact of the matter is, and again, nobody's ever questioned this, why he's using these machines. Because this is actually getting rid of jobs. But it's insane. And this is an actual journalist. Like, you have to think about that for a second. An actual journalist from the state one, for an actual journalist that went to college on 200,000 or so a year. Think about that. And this woman's going to be following him around. She really has to ask him some sort of questions. Because if I was there, he'd be sweating. He would want to get rid of me. I'd probably be arrested for asking him too much hard questions. Because I'd be asking him, why is he not supporting jobs? And I'd be bringing up bits in the door where he said we should be supporting economic growth, etc., etc., supporting creation of jobs. This is not creation of jobs. This is getting rid of jobs, and that's what's happening in the supermarkets. They're getting rid of jobs because they want machines. The supermarkets don't want to pay people to work in them. They want people to work for nothing, and they basically want people to use machines and stuff like that. And I don't agree with it, and the majority of people shouldn't agree with it because they're getting rid of people's jobs, and that's as simple as that. And somebody should have pointed it out to Mia Hammond when he's there. Why is he getting rid of people's jobs? Because the people that are using them are getting rid of people's jobs, and that's the straight up fact. And the fact that not one of them were willing to speak up and say anything is just they're all complicit, really, and all sit there with their mouths open and say nothing. The journalists, not talking about the only Joe. The only Joes are holding them to account, but the journalists are really putting themselves down, because especially because she sat there and was more worried about chocolate. He's talking like imagine that, and 200 and something thousand people seen this. Now, obviously, she's entitled to her opinion. If she cares what he has, for what chocolate he likes, then, I don't know, she should work in a chocolate company, to be told. It's not in the public broadcasting service, but it's just insane.